water, and it's had really positive effects at keeping that thing contained. And they were able, the Florida Forest Service was able to get a more accurate mapping around the perimeter. They updated the acreage, and so we are at 35% contained. The Bertha Swamp Fire is approximately 9,000 acres and is about 10% contained. And so as you go out and look at that, that's a big boy, and it's raging very quickly. It's moving. If you look where it's moving, the smoke is like way ahead of it, so it creates a lot of challenges in a number of different respects. So we're able to see that, but it's moving very, very quickly. Today's the perfect day for these types of fires to move. Unfortunately, you have very dry conditions and you have a lot of wind. So we've had about 1,100 homes evacuated. Yesterday we were here surveying some of the damage. I was able to see some of the damage. Unfortunately, some of the homes that were lost from the air today. We have deployed at the state level 4 firefighting engine strike teams. So they're assembled to support local firefighting resources, and they serve as a force multiplier, and they can do both structural and wildland protection. So I think we had one from Manatee County. They went immediately out. We go from, I guess, as far south as Southwest Florida. You have people up here that are helping out up here in Northwest Florida, so we appreciate that. We've got 4 National Guard air assets, 2 Black Hawks and 2 Chinooks. They're working, and they're having a positive impact. We also have ESF 49 deploying first responder mental wellness support to ensure our first responders are taking care of themselves after long hours. I'll let some of the other folks talk, but we have had some of our first responders that have suffered injuries, unfortunately, and so both from a physical and mental capacity, we want to be able to help folks that. We have had approved the FMAG request from FEMA. We tried to extend that to include Chipola Fire. That was not approved. We expanded the executive order to include the neighboring counties of Calhoun and Gulf. If you look at that big fire, it's kind of right at the juncture of a lot of those county lines, and so we were happy to be able to do that. We have the Florida Highway Patrol assisting the local sheriff's department with evacuations yesterday evening, and they will continue to supplement law enforcement. If there needs to be more evacuations, then obviously the state law enforcement will be assisting the sheriff and the other authorities here locally. The roads remain open, but they're monitoring that. If you see fire go in there, sometimes the smoke can really be very difficult. We had an incident over in Volusia County last week where the smoke blinded drivers and yet accidents. So they're constantly monitoring that, and if they do need to do anything, they'll obviously let everybody know. The Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles issued an emergency order that will help us transport emergency supplies quicker by waiving hours of service and certain registration requirements for commercial motor vehicles that are providing emergency support. They've also waived fees associated with replacing vehicle registration plates, driver's license, and IDs for any impacted residents. We have a number of staff from Florida Department of Emergency Management here to be able to help to respond to needs, and we are working with really all hands on deck to be able to mitigate this. And it's a really, really significant, certainly multiple fires, a major fire, out there that we were able to see. I want to thank everybody again for all their hard work. I can tell you, looking from above shows you an even probably starker contrast between areas that, had the support and what would have happened if they didn't. There were unfortunately some houses that would be lost in a given neighborhood, but then there'd be all these other houses that were right there that were saved. And so we appreciate everybody's effort to be able to protect people's property and to be able to protect people's lives. All right, we've got a number of folks here with us today. I've got Kevin Guthrie as the Director of the Division of Emergency Management for the state of Florida, our CFO, Jimmy Petronis, General James Eifert is our Adjutant General for the Florida National Guard. We have Sheriff Tommy Ford here, and then we have Brad Monroe from the fire. So they're all going to come up and say a few things and provide some updates. And so, Kevin, you want to?
Again, thank you very much, Governor, for your leadership. CFO, thank you as well. It's certainly been a united effort here with state agencies. between the CFO's office and getting mutual aid assets to the Florida National Guard, to the Florida Department of Agricultural and Consumer Services, FWC, FHP. It really is an all hands on deck for all state agencies that need to be involved in this. I would also say that just out of our briefing, as we were coming out of the briefing, Chief Monroe, who you'll hear from in a moment, did ask us for some additional engine brush teams. Those are, in our world, those are Type 5 and Type 6 brush trucks. We are going to be requesting 3 additional strike teams of brush trucks, and we'll get those mobilized through CFO today on that. I'll let CFO go in a little bit more detail about where all the engine strike teams are coming from. Thank you, Governor.
Okay. All right, Jimmy.
Thanks, Governor. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate everybody's support. It was amazing. Overnight, we had teams show up from all over the state, as far as Naples, as far east as Jacksonville. The Jacksonville teams were actually the same teams that were here with Hurricane Michael as members of Task Force 5. But to give you a little bit of a glimpse, we're talking about each one of these teams, about 80 individuals, Jacksonville Fire Rescue, St. John's, Clay County, Newport, Richey, Hernando. It goes on and on and on. The teams that we're drawn from are the ones that are basically not dealing with the same type of weather and environment we're dealing with right now. People ask, well, why don't we have somebody from Tallahassee or Pensacola? They're dealing with the exact same weather conditions we are right here. So it's better to bring those that are out of harm's way. As Kevin was talking about, some of the brush trucks we have that will come into the market out of Citrus County, Hernando County, those areas were similar type of terrain that will bring that type of equipment to be able to make the efforts. As it comes to insurance claims, if your house, if you have been evacuated, if you're one of those that has been evacuated, go ahead, pick up the phone, call your insurance carrier, and let them know I've been evacuated out of an abundance of caution. Go ahead and start the claims process. If nothing happens, then nothing goes wrong. Nothing's hold against you. It's just getting your paperwork filed just in case. We've seen about 3 homes that potentially are total losses so far, but that number is small because of the amazing work of our first responders and our strike teams that have been working around the clock since this has happened, providing protection to those assets and those families' most precious investment they'll make, their personal home. A lot of calls about charity and giving. I encourage you, if you want to make a donation, reach out to the Salvation Army, reach out to the Red Cross. I would be suspect on GoFundMe unless it's somebody that you personally know that you're being able to give to. Be careful where you donate your money. Those resources are precious. We want to make sure it goes to those that truly need it. We do have some injuries that have happened with some of our first responders. Again, it's dangerous work that they're doing, but it is humbling to see the coordinated efforts between the governor's office, Department of Emergency Management, our office, and the Ag Commission, and what's been happening here over the last several days. Bob Mike and his team at the Bay County Commission have done an amazing job, and Governor, you got a lot of people to be proud of.
Okay. All right, General Eifert, Florida National Guard.
Thank you, Governor. So couldn't be prouder of the Florida National Guard has jumped in to participate in this interagency effort. As of yesterday morning, in less than 24 hours, we had soldiers that had generated their helicopters and were on station here this morning at 10 o'clock this morning. Within 2 hours of being on the ground, they had their Bambi buckets, which is basically the water buckets that they're using to offload water onto the fire source. Loaded in 2 hours, they were airborne over the target. So they're doing outstanding work. To this point, in just the hours that they've been up, there's been hundreds of thousands of gallons of water dropped from these helicopters onto the fire. So we're prepared to generate more as needed. Some of the concerns right now are airspace congestion, because if you get too many assets in the area, then it's not of a benefit to anyone. So we're weighing that closely with Director Guthrie, and are ready to respond with more resources as required. Thank you.
We'd like to have Sheriff Tommy Ford come up.
Thank you, Governor. Once again, the residents of Bay County are extremely grateful to those first responders and other personnel throughout the state of Florida that have come to our aid in a dire time. Just 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, we had Hurricane Michael, and I remember spending quite a bit of time in this very parking lot getting those resources in. We want to thank the governor and the director for your resources with that. And I promise you, if you'll go ahead and put them in a mission for us, any other disaster in the state, Bay County will be the first to respond to help. This situation has been dynamic over the past couple of days and changing very quickly. last night we had to initiate an evacuation in the area of Bear Creek. That was due to the fire up there moving closely. We've had to initiate some additional evacuations today due to a fire in the area of Tram Road. And to quote my lieutenant that called about 10 minutes ago, said the Chinooks are amazing. They were actually really a game changer on that fire. That was the fire that resulted in the Sims nursing home evacuation. But the two Chinooks were able to get in there and dump a lot of water. We were able to really make some headway on that. They're still fighting that as we speak right now. There's been a lot of questions about the Bay County Jail. The Bay County Jail is in the area off of Star Avenue. It is not in immediate danger, but we do have a very robust plan in place. I've been working with the Department of Corrections. It would require, with 1,300 inmates, would require us to spread them to quite a few institutions, but we've been working with DEM and Department of Corrections and have a good plan in place. We'll have some buses here later that will be on standby should that become necessary. It is a very strong, sturdy structure made out of concrete with a wide perimeter around it, so I think the probability is low of that, but we do have those plans in place. Just want to talk a little bit about the evacuations. I know there's been frustration of people not being able to get back into their homes, but realize that even the fire that we have closest to here that we've been dealing with since Friday is only 35% contained, and some of those lines are still very active. As you see with Tram Road, we've had things that have popped up on a minute's notice and really caused a lot of problems. So for now, we're holding firm on keeping those evacuated, but I assure you that as soon as we can, we'll let people back in there. Just to go over the areas evacuated: the Bilsma Estates, Cedar Park, College Station, Pipeline Road to the dead end, Springfield east of Transmitter. Again, newly last night, Bear Creek from Scotts Ferry Road south, and everyone east of 231 from South Bear Creek to Ville Road. Just in the last hour, 2 hours, Tram Road from 15th Street to North Star Avenue to include the nursing home, with a road closure right now of Star Avenue from Nehi Road to Pittsburgh Avenue. Been working together with area law enforcement here in Bay County, as well as state law enforcement resources. And again, thank you all for your help.
Okay. We have Brad Monroe, Bay County.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you for coming back to Bay County and offering your support to our first responders. An incredible effort has been made over the last few days by our local first responders and now by our strike teams. We have lots of our folks who are returning to the field that were out there fighting fires just a day or so ago. So we're hoping to be able to get a handle on this thing, and I think the assets that are coming in will help a great deal. I want to thank the support staff here at the command post, the folks who are feeding our employees and sending food and supplies out to the firefighters in the field. They appreciate that very much and have passed that on to me. And as CFO Petronas alluded to earlier, we do have some crews that had responded to us in the Hurricane Michael effort, and it's very heartwarming to see those folks come back to help us again. I want to commend the efforts by our local firefighters, the Florida Forestry Service, and now the National Guard, who is here to help us. Thank you, General. We appreciate your service and that of your servicemen. Some of our crews have been out there for days and were there before on the same particular fire. We still remain in a very serious situation in Bay County, in a state of emergency. The Bertha Swamp Fire is now 9,000 acres. It's just hard to believe that something could be that big, the biggest fire I've ever seen. But anyway, if you fly around it, it's just incredible. It's hard to comprehend just how big, strong, and fierce this fire is. And the winds have been variable throughout the last few days. We expect that again tomorrow. So this is not a time to let your guard down. We expect the same situation. We may have some more serious fires today, but be cognizant of that, and we hope that the extra assets that we've gotten in will help us turn the tide here. I encourage everyone to heed the evacuations. I want to thank Sheriff Ford and law enforcement for the phenomenal job they've done by helping us get out in front of that. I'm sorry for any inconvenience, but this is necessary to protect lives. Again, I want to thank my staff, the county commissioners, who have been such a tremendous support of us, given us such tremendous support over the last few days. They've been here almost every minute of this activation, and that makes our crews feel good about their community. I want to thank the community for their response. Those who evacuated, I know it's inconvenience, but you make it easier for our troops to get in, the heavy equipment from the Forestry Service, the engines, the crews going in to fight the fires, by not reducing the traffic. This is essential to having a good stand on these fires. Again, I thank you for your help and your support, and that we've gotten from all over the United States. There's people have texted me from all over the United States offering support and help to us. I was asked about donations. We have been getting donations throughout this event. I think every time I went out in public, somebody tried to hand me some food of some sort. There is a way that you can donate. I think CFO Petronas covered some of that. We do have an agency that's handling that for us, and we can get you that information if you need it. Thank you very much.
Well, again, we appreciate everyone's hard work. They have all hands on deck, from municipalities to the county to the state. We're thankful for that, and we're pleased to be able to bring more assets to bear. As General Eifert said, I mean, we potentially could have more aircraft. It becomes an issue when you're managing these fires. How many of these birds do you want in air at one time? And it does create some challenges there. But suffice it to say, if they see an opportunity where that can be done without having those challenges, then they're willing to do it. And I know Kevin Guthrie at DEM is going to be standing by to continue to help in any way we can in the state of Florida. So I would just tell folks here, just listen to these folks. If they do tell you this thing's moving quickly, the winds are very significant, if they tell you to evacuate in a different area that has not been subject to that, listen to that. Please don't go out burning stuff right now. I mean, it's just not something that we need. There's the conditions are so ripe for these fires to really go, and from the air to the wind, and unfortunately, we're not going to get any relief in terms of the weather. I think maybe in the middle of the week they may get some rain, but it seems like tomorrow is going to be a similar day, and so that means that these fires are going to have some additional fuel. So just heed that, understand that, and don't do anything to contribute to that. And so with that, we're happy to take some questions.
How far away are the neighborhoods that are under mandatory evacuation from the fires, specifically the Bertha Swamp Road fire in relation to the Pear Creek area neighborhoods?
You want to?
As of about an hour ago, it was 3 miles away, but it's traveling quickly, so I don't have a very up-to-date, accurate answer on that.
And what would you say to residents who are staying behind? I talked to a couple over in the Bear Creek area who said they were waiting to see burning embers before they leave.
By that time, it's a little too late. I would say if you have any doubt in mind, you need to go ahead and evacuate now.
Do we have any update on the Star Avenue Tram Road besides it being 25, 30 acres? I know the Chinooks are making very big progress, but is there an acreage difference between now and then?
Right now, it's 45% contained, and they're making great progress on it, but I don't have an accurate, up-to-date acres right now.
Do we know how much of the Bertha Swamp fire is actually?
That's a good question. I'd have to look at the map a little bit better. It's 9,000 acres right now. I would imagine it's a couple of thousand acres in Bay County.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Got that.